In the summer of 2024, a horrific crime shook a community to its core, leaving two families devastated and a once promising academic career in ruin. At the center of this tragedy was Nicole Verie, PhD candidate in psychology at San Diego State University, who found herself facing the most serious of charges: the murder of an infant and the assault of his twin brother. Nicole Verie seemed to have everything going for her. The daughter of a prominent New York City cardiologist, she was pursuing an advanced degree at a respected institution with a bright future ahead in the field of psychology. Her academic pursuits suggested a deep interest in understanding human behavior and a commitment to improving lives. However, the events that unfolded on Father's Day 2024 would cast a dark shadow over her potential and leave a community grappling with unimaginable loss. The story began on June 15, 2024, when Verie was entrusted with the care of 6-week-old twins, Leon Katz and his brother. It was a responsibility given her background and studies. She should have been more than capable of handling. Yet, as the evening progressed, a series of events would unfold that would forever change the lives of all involved. According to court documents, the night took a tragic turn when Verie called 911 shortly before midnight. Her voice, likely filled with panic, reported that Leon had suffered a bump to the head after falling from a bassinet. By the time emergency services arrived at the scene, infant was becoming non-responsive, a sight that must have been heart-wrenching for the first responders. Leon was rushed to the hospital, where medical professionals worked tirelessly to save his life. However, the injuries they discovered were far more severe than a simple fall could explain. Leon had sustained a severe skull fracture and multiple brain bleeds, injuries that painted a picture of significant trauma. What made the situation even more distressing was the revelation that Leon's parents had left him in Verie's care, while they took his twin brother to the hospital for injuries to his genitals. Shockingly, it was Verie herself who had brought these injuries to the parents' attention earlier in the day. This twist in the narrative raised alarming questions about the events leading up to that fateful night. As investigators delved deeper into the case, they consulted with Dr. Wolford of the Child Advocacy Center. The doctor's assessment was damning. The injuries sustained by both Leon and his brother were consistent with child abuse. Dr. Wolford described them as inflicted injuries that are not natural and not accidental. Words that must have sent a chill down the spines of all who heard them. When questioned by police, Verie struggled to provide a plausible explanation for Leon's injuries. Her account of the day's events seemed inconsistent with the severity of the trauma inflicted on the infant. She recounted an ordinary day, an outing with the family in the afternoon, followed by a solo trip to the grocery store. Verie estimated that around 6:30 p.m., parents took Leon's brother to the hospital for the genital injury, leaving her as the sole caretaker for Leon. Verie's description of the evening raised more questions than it answered. She claimed that after the parents left, Leon was fine. He had eaten, soiled 2 diapers, and been burped. Then, according to her account, she fell asleep while Leon was in a bouncer seat, though not strapped in. Upon waking, she went to the kitchen to prepare a bottle. It was then, Verie claimed, that she heard Leon screaming and found him on his left side on the floor. She said she picked him up, but by then, the damage had been done. The timeline Verie provided did not align with the severe injuries Leon had sustained. Medical experts would later testify that the type of trauma observed in Leon's case would have immediately rendered him unconscious and unresponsive. The discrepancies in Verie's story only deepened the suspicion surrounding her involvement in the tragic events. As dawn broke on Father's Day, the Katz family received the news that no parent should ever have to hear. Leon had succumbed to his injuries, passing away in the early hours of what should have been a day of celebration. The autopsy would later confirm what many had already suspected. Leon's death was the result of blunt force trauma, and it was ruled a homicide. The investigation didn't stop with Leon. The injuries to his twin brother were also detailed in the affidavit, painting a disturbing picture of potential ongoing abuse. These injuries included scratches on the face, bruises below the belly button, and concerning damage to the genital area. The pattern of injuries to both infants suggested a systematic and deliberate infliction of harm, a realization that horrified investigators and medical professionals alike. Throughout the investigation, the parents of the twins vehemently denied causing any harm to either of their children. Their anguish was palpable, as they found themselves not only grieving the loss of one son, but also grappling with the injuries sustained by his twin. As the evidence mounted, investigators focused their attention squarely on Nicole Verie. The decision by prosecutors to charge Verie with criminal homicide and aggravated assault marked a turning point in the case. However, it was their subsequent announcement that truly underscored the severity of the alleged crimes. Commonwealth declared its intention to seek the death penalty against Verie. The discovery of Lindsay's remains provided some answers, but also raised new questions. How did she end up so far from where she disappeared? Was she taken there alive, or were her remains moved there later? And most importantly, who was responsible for her death? For Lindsay's mother, Melissa, the confirmation of her daughter's death was devastating, but also provided a degree of closure after years of uncertainty. "I had to know," she said. "I had to know where she was." The investigation shifted to focus on how Lindsay's remains ended up at that location, and who might have knowledge of the area. However, no arrests have been made in the years since the discovery. The case remains open and active, with investigators still determined to bring Lindsay's killer to justice. Melissa Baum continues to advocate for her daughter and other missing children. She has channeled her grief into efforts to help other families of missing persons and push for laws to protect children. "I have to believe that it's going to be solved," she says. "And if it's not in my lifetime, I promise I will hunt from the grave whoever was involved." The disappearance and death of Lindsay Baum forever changed the town of McCleary and serves as a tragic reminder that even small, close-knit communities are not immune to predators. Her case highlights the devastating impact when a child vanishes and the long-lasting effects on family and community. As the investigation continues, authorities urge anyone with information about Lindsay's disappearance or death to come forward. Even small details could potentially break the case. The $35,000 reward remains in place for information leading to an arrest and conviction. Lindsay's story also underscores the importance of teaching children about personal safety, while also fostering communities where they can grow and thrive without fear. Her mother, Melissa, emphasizes the need for parents to be vigilant and trust their instincts when it comes to their children's safety. The mystery of what happened to Lindsay Baum that summer night in 2009 may never be fully solved, but investigators and her family remain committed to seeking justice and ensuring her story is not forgotten. Lindsay's bright spirit and the tragedy of her loss continue to touch lives and serve as a catalyst for efforts to protect other children from harm. As the years pass, the hope remains that someone will come forward with the crucial piece of information needed to finally close this case. Until then, Lindsay's memory lives on in the hearts of those who knew her and the countless others touched by her story. Her disappearance serves as a somber reminder of the preciousness of life and the enduring power of a community united in the face of tragedy. The academic community at San Diego State University, where Verie was pursuing her PhD, has also been profoundly shaken by the allegation. The case serves as a somber reminder that even those dedicated to the study of human behavior and psychology can be capable of unthinkable acts. It has prompted soul-searching within the institution about the screening and support of graduate students, particularly those whose studies bring them into contact with vulnerable populations. As the legal process unfolds, many questions remain unanswered. What could have driven a promising young academic to allegedly commit such a heinous crime? How did the warning signs, if any, go unnoticed? And ultimately, will justice be served in a way that honors the memory of Leon Katz and protects other children from similar fates? The case of Nicole Verie is a tragic reminder of the vulnerability of children and the profound responsibility that comes with their care. It challenges our assumptions about who can be capable of child abuse and underscores the need for continued vigilance and support for child protection services. The tragedy has sparked conversations about mental health support for caregivers, the pressures faced by graduate students, and the need for more robust systems to protect children. It has forced us to confront uncomfortable truths about the potential for violence in unexpected places and the limitations of our ability to predict human behavior. As the case progresses, it will undoubtedly continue to captivate public attention and spark debates about justice, punishment, and the protection of the innocent. The story of Nicole Verie serves as a cautionary tale, a heartbreaking reminder of the fragility of life, and a call to action for better safeguards for our children. In the end, regardless of the legal outcome, the true tragedy lies in the loss of young Leon Katz and the irreparable harm done to his family. Their story will forever serve as a somber reminder of the need for vigilance, compassion, and justice in our society.